Dear friends, I welcome you to the discussion series on the National Higher Education Policy 2020. Before starting our discussion, I introduce myself as Professor K. V.N. Rao, former Vice Chancellor of Acharya Nagarjuna University at Guntur, Andhra Pradesh, and presently I am serving as the Director of the Southeast Asian Group of Educational Institutions, Kayarpuram, Bangalore. This is a series of lectures that I wish to present for the benefit of all the well educated and also for the benefit of the students, teachers, and the general public. You are all aware that recently on 30th July 2020, the Government of India has announced the National Education Policy 2020 and got it approved through the Cabinet. So the only process that is going to remain that it should be converted as the law. So keeping that in view, we will discuss what are the unique features of this National Education Policy 2020 and what is the background or the context in which the policy is going to operate. Before I discuss, I wish to bring to your notice that it will be in a series of parts, and in this I take the introduction. So this is going to be an introductory discussion that we are going to have on the National Education Policy 2020. Friends, you are aware that there has been an attempt by the Government of India for a long time. Ever since the NDA, National Democratic Alliance, has come into the power during 2014 to 2019, they made an attempt in 2015, exactly October 31st, 2015, they appointed one committee under the chairmanship of T.S.R. Subramanian, so the then cabinet secretary, and he was asked to study the entire situation and then submit a report on for the preparation of the national education policy. And ever since he was asked, so he has submitted the same in May 2016, and the same draft was put for discussion, and also invited the Government of India invited suggestions from the educationists, policy makers, and the teachers, students, and all the general public. So, and this process has continued unending, and the policy has not come out as the bill or an act so far. And that way, again, after a period of about 3 years, and the government has thought that it is better. There have been so many suggestions that have come for consideration of the government, really, and we should appreciate the fact that so many educationists and then so many teachers, students, and the general public have reacted and also offered their own suggestions as to how the policy on education for the government, for the country, should be like. So in that context, so thousands, I can say thousands of suggestions were received by the government, and so it has not really been able to really see them and then see that what is the thing that they can go upon. So in that context, it thought that during this time, so almost 3 years elapsed, and it thought that there can be another committee which can suggest or which can study all these things and then come out with its own report. And there are two reasons. One thing is that so it requires some time to go through all the suggestions that were tendered by the people, and also that in the meantime there has been lot of time that has elapsed between the appointment of the Subramanian committee and also later on. So in that context, again it has appointed so another committee under the chairmanship of Kasturi Rangan, so the former chairman of the ISRO. And then they have studied the same educational suggestions and also the draft of the Subramanian, and then they have submitted their own report, which was issued by the government of India in December 2018 as the Draft National Education Policy 2019. For over 1.5 years, the draft again has been put in circulation and has been put for discussion of the people, and finally, after 1.5 years of time, that the government chose to issue the same as a policy. And after incorporating the suggestions and all that, now that we have in our hands, and the same policy which was approved by the cabinet has been uploaded and available in the website of the Ministry of Human Resources Development. And certain changes that they have contemplated through this policy we will see. And before going into that, so I wish to bring to your attention, so the very basic objective or the mission statement of the new education policy, and wherein they said that the mission of the National Education Policy 2020 is to make the Indian economy as a global knowledge superpower. So these are the terms that they have used in the document. Making India as a global knowledge superpower. So for which the government said that it will take all the necessary precautions and also establish necessary institutional mechanism to see that this mission is realized. What is more important in this context, that there have been so many issues and so many aspects in which I think this national education policy can be discussed. And first of all, let us see what is so unique with this new policy and how it is going to deviate from the others. I can say, keeping in view of the mission statement of the policy, we can see that how the India can convert itself as a global knowledge superpower, and what is the level playing field and what is the requirement that we are supposed to meet with. That is the situation, or that is the point for discussion. So in that context, so many issues have come, and in that I think so we can discuss one by one. And here the unique features are going to be one thing that so they are also aware of the requirements of the 21st century. Two things on which they have focused. One is relating to the requirements of the 21st century knowledge economy, and the second thing is how to keep abreast of the developments and the requirements of the fourth industrial revolution. So that is what the draft has focused upon. And not only that, so there have been other unique features or salient features on which the policy has been focusing its attention on. They include, we can consider, say, one thing is that for the first time there has been a realization on the policy makers that we have our own treasure of knowledge which can be depended upon. And earlier, I think there has been a criticism as far as the framing of education policy of the country is concerned. Even after so many years of the dependence on the British, and even though it has remained to be a colonial country and got liberated in 1947, that we have not really shed the practices, nor we were able to reform ourselves and frame our own policy. And they say that so we have been still continuing the Macaulay so kind of an education system, which is meant for preparing the clerks for taking care of the government machinery. So from that, which one deviation we can identify in this context is that for the first time, Government of India has realized, and the policy makers, perhaps the draft has been saying the same thing, that so there is a focus on the Indian treasure of knowledge and especially the Indian ethos. These are the terms that they have used in the draft, that how we can depend upon our own say the Indian value system and also the Indian treasure of knowledge which has been built over the centuries. In that context, I think the names that were quoted included the Aryabhatta, Varahamihara, and also Patanjali, and many other so exponents in their own fields of knowledge. So the government thought that it is better that we can unearth all those contributions and then integrate them with the present kind of knowledge. So in that way, that the new policy we can consider is one kind of deviation. And then the other thing is that it has also been focusing on the kind of the methodology that we can use for teaching learning process. Hitherto there has been lot of emphasis on the rote learning. That means memorization is said to be the one major drawbacks in our educational system. Now they want to focus on the innovation, creativity, and also the critical thinking of the student friends. So in that context, there has been much emphasis on how we can generate these qualities among the students is yet another issue that they have been trying to take into consideration. And the third thing is relating to the cognitive skills that they want to promote among the students right from the school education. So wherein they want to see that so there is much focus on these cognitive skills which include soft skills and many others like the perception and then empathy, reasoning and persuasion and perseverance, teamwork, leadership, communication, and all these, and all of them we call them as the soft skills now. So focus is attempted to be laid on the promotion of these soft skills among them, and that way students are going to be given the opportunity and also advised to see that they develop these qualities instead of just mugging the content or instead of just trying to memorize and then the same thing take the examinations, and then whoever can memorize better, I think he will be having the opportunity to get more marks in the examination. That kind of a system is going to be replaced with this kind of a new kind of a thing. And also another thing, that there is a great focus on making the education as a great leveler. That means focus is laid also on the groups that which have been hitherto neglected, like socio-economically disadvantaged groups of the society. They want to focus and use this education as a means to upbring them and then make them fall in line and then as an inclusive activity. So this is another important objective that the national education policy is going to really concentrate upon. And the fourth thing is relating to the value education. So we have been discussing that some of the universities also and colleges have also included certain kind of content in the name of professional ethics and human values, and value education has been included as a separate kind of a course work that can be given to them. Now there is a focus especially and exclusively on providing this value education, and see that the Indian ethos is prevalent throughout the education process, either it be at the school level or it be at the college level, and also after the research level, and when they join an institution also they want to see that so this value system, the as a human being, not only as a student but also as a human being, he will carry this kind of a value or human values with him, and that way he will be also serving the society. So these are some of the major initiatives that the policy has been trying to attempt for, and all these are sought to be achieved through this draft. And basically this National Education Policy 2020 has been categorized into 4 parts, and their focus has been on these 4 only. So one thing is the school education, they have discussed at length, and the next part in that is the higher education, as to how to reform the higher education system and also the institutions that are taking part in this sector. And the third thing is professional education, which comprises of the agriculture, medicine, law, education and all those. So all the professional education institutions, as to how they are required to function, how they should integrate their education for the service of the society. And the fourth is the action plan. That is what the draft has called it as making it happen. How we can realize the mission and the objectives that were incorporated through this policy is the focus of the part 4 of this national educational policy. So now in each of them there are many measures that the draft has proposed, and we will see and we will discuss all of them one by one. So in the next series, in the next discussion, I will take up the school education issues that are figured in, and also what are the other matters of contention relating to the reforming of the school education, and how schools are really required to improve upon their own functioning, and how the whole thing can be improving the kind of school education system in our country, and how our boys and girls, all the student friends at the lower level of education, how they can benefit from out of this new network that we will see. So thank you very much.